We begin with breaking news this morning. Officials say they're closing in on the brothers suspected in the massacre of 12 people in France just days ago. Happening right now, we're taking a live look from France. Paris police say a massive operation is continuing to unfold at this time in a town just outside of Paris. It's near an airport. Again, this is a live look of that town where they say the brothers have made contact with police and have told them they do have a hostage and are willing to die as martyrs. At this time, we're getting a lot of new information. The situation is it's near an airport. Flights are being canceled there. This was after a very dramatic car chase earlier, casualty and then gunfire. Helicopters and hundreds of security forces backed by ambulances are now in that small French town. Just last Wednesday, the armed pair, including one other who turned himself in, were accused of storming Charlie Hebdo newspaper and killing 12 people in that attack. We'll stay on top of the story and bring you the very latest this morning.
Also new and developing this early hour, a man is in critical condition after being hit by a car. It happened on Central near Eubank at about 11:40 last night. We spoke with Albuquerque police just before news time. Right now, they're not saying if the driver stopped or will be cited or if the pedestrian was in a crosswalk when that collision happened. When new details come in, we'll report them on air and online now at KRQE.com.
Now it's 5:02 as the federal government investigates how UNM handles cases of sexual assault and harassment. We wanted to know how deep the problem is on campus. In documents obtained by News 13, there were 11 reports of rape made to UNM police in 2013 and 2014, 7 sexual harassment cases, and 1 kidnapping. The Fed started looking into how UNM handles sex crimes last month after getting a series of complaints about the university from students.
Regardless of what our intentions are, there's still some things that we might be missing. To have an external reviewer come in and sort of point those gaps out to us is a great opportunity for us to do better for our students.
Now, the Dean of Students says his office does not handle the criminal side of complaints, but points out the university has worked hard to create a number of programs aimed at addressing and preventing sexual violence and harassment.
5:03 now. New Mexico's new attorney general is announcing a new policy to make things tougher on criminals. Hector Balderas says he will not allow plea deals for anyone convicted of child sex crimes or child pornography with no jail time attached. Balderas says a review this week of recent cases shows a pattern of plea deals with offenders not spending even 1 day in jail or registering as a sex offender. He also says any deals that can be withdrawn will be.
There should be no such thing as a non-public sex offender. Registration is very important when it comes to protecting children. People who also exploit child rape and profit from child rape are just as bad as child rapists and need to be treated in the same fashion.
Balderas says a similar policy will be in effect for corruption cases involving public officials.
County officials say they broke their own rules. Now a lot of you heading to work in Bernalillo County are still waiting for a wage increase that you were supposed to get days ago. News 13's Catherine Mazzone spoke with commissioners to find out what threw a wrench into their plans. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. Now, the minimum wage increase passed in 2013, but commissioners say staff errors could put that in jeopardy. Commissioners say they failed to sign off on the cost of living increases, and they didn't publish the minimum wage by October 15th as required by the ordinance. Now, that's to give employers time to prepare to pay those higher wages. The ordinance enacted a series of programmed raises. The first would boost pay up to $8 an hour. 6 months later, that would jump to 50 cents. From then on out, wage increases would be based on cost of living, and the county would have to approve them. Well, this time that didn't happen. Commissioner Wayne Johnson says it's understandable since the first 2 raises were automatic, but that doesn't make it okay. Commissioners are set to address the issue Tuesday and possibly vote to make changes.
I'm for following the law as written, and if there's a problem with the law, then we need to correct that law.
I think it's very clear the legislative record shows that the county commission did intend for this to be automatic.
Now, so what happens next? Well, I'll tell you why some commissioners say they're in a tough spot no matter what they do to fix the problem. That's in our next half hour. Crystal, back to you.
All right, thanks for that information, Catherine. Again, the county commission is scheduled to vote on this issue come Tuesday.
A state lawmaker wants you to pay more for gas to fix state roads. A new study shows about a quarter of New Mexico's 30,000 miles of highway are in disrepair, but Money to fix them is fading fast. The Legislative Finance Committee says the state spent more than half of the money it set aside for roads last year. Now there's only $37 million in the yearly fund, and Democratic State Representative Bobby Gonzalez of Tahoe thinks he has a solution here. He's proposing a bill to raise the gas tax, adding a penny to the 17 cents that drivers already pay starting in July. It would then continue to go up a penny a gallon each year for 4 years, with all of the money going to the road fund. Representative Gonzalez made a similar proposal last year, but that one died in committee. Governor Martinez has opposed this sort of idea in the past.
Looks like residents in Albuquerque are setting records while going green. The Solid Waste Management Department announced yesterday that it collected more than 6.5 million pounds of recycling material from homes. The collection also exceeded the city's goal for the month by 4%. It's also an 11% increase from December 2013.
A reward is being offered to find a lost Cruces couple who police say dropped a corpse off at a local hospital. Happened New Year's Day. The man and woman took 54-year-old Norman Means to Memorial Medical Center, but they left before talking with authorities. Police say his death does not appear to be suspicious, but detectives would still like to speak with them about what happened there. There is also reward money being offered for information about the dozens of coyote carcasses dumped on state land. The killings are in connection with a coyote hunting contest. The land office says whoever disposed of the bodies in the desert west of Las Cruces trespassed on state land. The New Mexico Desert Dogs, a local hunting group behind the contest, is denying responsibility for the dumping. They say the animals were handed over to a private party for disposal.
And we continue to follow breaking news this morning. French officials say they're closing in on the two murderous brothers suspected in the newspaper massacre killing 12 people. Right now, we are taking a live look at a town where the two brothers are believed to be holed up by officials. Now, officials are telling us at this time that the brothers have been talking to police. They've made contact with them and told them they do have a hostage and are willing to die as martyrs. Again, this is all taking place near an airport where some flights are now being canceled. This is after a very dramatic car chase, casualty, and gunfire. Helicopters and hundreds of security forces backed by ambulances are now in that small French town this morning. Just last Wednesday, the armed pair, including one other who turned himself in, are accused of storming Charlie Hebdo newspaper and killing 12 people in that attack. Of course, we will stay on top of this story as it develops and bring you the very latest.
Also developing this morning, CBS is reporting searchers are looking for wreckage of the AirAsia jetliner. Of course, they have been for days, but they've now detected underwater pings, which they hope are coming from the plane's black boxes. Officials say those pings were heard about 1,000 feet from the tail of the plane. 12 days ago, that aircraft crashed into the Java Sea. So far, bodies of 48 passengers and crew have been recovered. We will continue to update this developing story today.
A city bus plows into a home, throwing a woman from her couch this morning. Look at this video. We have the video leading up to that dangerous crash and that aftermath. Surveillance video from ABQ Ride shows a city bus heading east on Cole around 10:15 yesterday morning. But as it got to Girard,
it just sounded like an explosion, and the bus, when it hit the house, sounded like another explosion.
yeah, going through a red light, a van crashes head on with the bus and slams sideways, sending it barreling through a house on the corner. There were 5 people riding in the bus. Look at the video. You can see the impact throws some of them out of their seats. A woman was inside the home, lying on the couch against the wall that the bus tore through. That woman, the bus riders, and both drivers all went to the hospital with only minor injuries. Police cited the driver of the van for running that red light.
And, you know, we checked with people living near where this crash happened. They tell us they're not surprised at all. In fact, they say this sort of thing happens all the time, and they're frustrated by it.
They're on their cell phones, they're not paying attention to the speed limit, and you get the accidents.
Neighbors say this is the 3rd crash in that area this week, but this one is by far one of the most dramatic they've seen in the area. When the dust finally cleared, crews quickly stepped in to help with the cleanup. The wall crumbled as a truck slowly towed the bus away from the home. You can watch that unfolding here. From out of the crash site, you can see it left a big hole where onlookers could see right inside the house. This morning, that home's been boarded up. In the meantime, both of the women inside are staying with family. No word yet on the cost of damage. The driver was cited. It's not clear who will have to pay for the damages.
Now, Absolutely frightening. And we're learning more about the driver of the van. KRQE has learned that that van is owned by Carroll Plumbing and Heating. The company tells us the driver claims he was on his way to install a water heater when his brakes failed. Police are still looking into that. As for the bus driver, the city tells us she is a 15-year veteran with a very good driving record. And more dramatic video from another city bus crash. This one last Friday at Central and Unser. A truck with a bed full of stuff ran a red light, smashing into the side of that bus. The bus was pushed into a Route 66 sign. When the driver hit it, take a look at the video, he was thrown out of his seat and through the windshield. While the driver was not seriously hurt, he could be disciplined for not wearing his seatbelt. APD says nobody was hurt in the crash.
Whew. County commissioners are working fast to fix a problem to get many of you the pay raise that you're supposed to have already. They say they broke their own laws and they may have to do it again. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is in the Newsplex with more details here. What's happening, Catherine?
Good question, Adam. Minimum wage increases were supposed to go into effect January 1st, but the commission didn't publish them or approve them on time. Now, some commissioners say they could be sued whether they pass the raise or not. Now, when the commission passed this ordinance back in 2013, they put in 2 automatic raises and then required commissioners to sign off on cost of living increases every year. For this year's raise, they didn't do it in time. It needs to be published for 34 days. The commission is scheduled to vote on Tuesday, and if it passes, it will be enacted. Now, that would mean the raise would finally go through. But Commissioner Wayne Johnson says that's a violation of the ordinance. Commissioner Maggie Hart-Stebbins has a much different take.
I think it's very clear the legislative record shows that the county commission did intend for this to be automatic.
If the ordinance is insufficient to handle this case, and because we messed up in this case, we need to change the ordinance to correct the problem. That should be the process, not just, it doesn't say we can't do it, so we're going to go ahead and do it.
Now, commissioners say the pay increase this year is 15 cents. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. Again, commissioners are set to vote on this on Tuesday.
We're learning more about the night the Santa Fe County deputy was shot to death by his partner. It appears he was in a fight before he was killed. According to the autopsy report obtained by the Albuquerque Journal, Jeremy Martin had cuts and bruises on his face and hands. Martin was shot 5 times in the back in a Las Cruces hotel in October after a night of drinking with Deputy Ty Chan. The two were traveling for work. Police say Chan admitted to that shooting. He was fired by the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department. He's since bonded out of jail. More violence on San Mateo Lane in northeast Albuquerque. This time, APD is investigating a suspicious death at the Waterfront Apartments. That's near Montgomery on San Mateo Lane. Someone called 911 yesterday after finding a dead man inside an apartment. Police say it looks like there was a struggle and alcohol may have been involved. APD is not releasing any more information until they contact the family.
On to this. In just hours, President Obama visits Tennessee to unveil a plan to make community college free. That's for students willing to work for it, according to the White House. The plan would need the approval of a Republican-led Congress, which is already battling him on some key issues. A couple of them here. Senate panel agreed to move forward with bills approving the construction of the long-stalled Keystone XL pipeline. The House also moved forward on a bill that would make changes to the president's signature health care law. The president has already threatened to veto both of those measures, but this proposal for community college will be for 2 years.
Right.
2 years would be the free portion.
And the situation is they have not really outlined how much it's going to cost. Republicans are kind of speculating it could be $10 billion every single year. You'll need to get the Republican votes.
And the state of Tennessee has already done something similar to this, so we'll see how it unfolds, right?
That's true. And listen to this story. A young girl in Connecticut is getting a lot of attention on social media for being what she says forced to undergo chemo. This is 17-year-old Cassandra C. She has Hodgkin lymphoma. She says she's being forced by state officials to undergo chemotherapy. While she says she understands she'll die if she stops the treatments, Cassandra says she wants to explore alternative treatments, expressing that she wants a better quality of life, not quantity. The higher court ruled, however, that state officials were not violating her rights in this incident.
Boy, I bet there's some debate over that.
Absolutely.
Among those who feel one way or the other about certain treatments.